looking for unique things to film here in Favignana. We're here for our third time, and this is the first time we're seeing how olives are harvested from an orchard near us. You just set up the nets at the base of the trees and maybe wait for the trees to drop the olives. This is in early October. Oh, okay, so he's using like a machine to shake the olives free of the branches there. You see a lot of olives on the ground already because it's really a windy day today, unusual. Here's where we're staying at Dimora Cala del Pozzo. So you set up the nets around the trees and then you use that thing with the propeller on to sort of shake the branches. And here's what a tree full of olives looks like that they use to make a great olive oil that we buy from here. And it also goes into products like soap and shampoo. And then in a previous video I showed of going up to that castle up on the mountain, which was a several-hour event to get up there. Very steep with fantastic views when you get up there. And then this is our Dimora means mansion in English, but it's like a bed and breakfast, and it's really nice. And the women that work here as the hosts are just great. They tell you everything you need to know, where to go if you have any questions, or they'll make arrangements for you. So it's beautifully landscaped. And I've got my wind slayer on my camera because you need it today. It's very windy. So the main building is through there, and then lots of cats are here. And then our unit is over here in this building here. And then through this gate. And I'll just show you our little outdoor space. So we have olive trees right in our own little courtyard here. Put that down. So you can just see that this is the rocky terrain that everything has to grow out of. It's like a moonscape around here. It's very rugged and rough. And then we have this outdoor, I thought it was a hot tub, but it's a bathtub. And I took a bath the first night we got here, and the water only comes out cold. So taking an outdoor cold bath. And then this is the north shore of Favignana on the west side of this mountain range that runs north-south through the middle of the island. And then in the distance, that's Levanzo, another island. It's like 10 minutes away by ferry from Favignana. Very uninhabited, very rugged. I mean, it's just a little village on the east side of it. So that's a little bit of Favignana in 2025. Our third stay here. Just gonna film this place where we have discovered, actually our hostess at their B&B told us about this cove to go to where the wind is shielded by the cove itself. So you can see like this cove it's pretty calm behind the rocks, but then out there the waves are coming in. And it's a beautiful setting. There's Maritimo, the other island to our west behind us. We wanted to go there this week, but it was too windy on the days we wanted to go. And they don't have ferry service when it's too windy. So the winds are sort of dying down today. And then tomorrow it's supposed to be pretty placid, but we're leaving tomorrow. So anyway, we're on the north shore of Favignana, and that land mass over there, that's Levanzo Island, a separate island, like 4 miles. No, less than 4 miles. We're 4 miles from the Sicilian mainland, and so Levanzo is like only like half a mile away from Favignana. Some ancient cave dwellings that people lived in, natural caves way back when. I think I read something that they can establish that there was human inhabitation here going back to 50,000 BC. So that's something. So I'll show you more when we get up over this little rise here. I don't know if you can make out my wife. She's in the distance. We think we're the only two people here, but there could be other people that are there. The other day we walked over here from our B&B, but today we rode bikes just to cut down on the length of the walk. I especially wanted to do that because I'm carrying like heavy water bottles for the day. It's a little less fun to do a hike or a walk when you've got water weighing 62.4 pounds per cubic foot in your backpack. So, and then this is a little knob here at the northern tip of the island, and then you can see the hills and mountains rising up out of the water. That's the mainland of Sicily, the west coast. Alright, so go over here and then we're going to go down to the cove. There's the west point of Favignana with the lighthouse in the distance. And Maritimo. And then there's these huge caves here. I don't know how deep they go, but they almost look like they're blackened on the inside, like maybe people have, at least once upon a time, maybe had fires in there that blackened the roofs of the caves. Don't know. Right here at the northern edge of the mountain range on the northern part of the island, looking out across the Mediterranean. Our host at our bed and breakfast inn said that this is about the only place we'd find calm water today because of the winds coming in from the west and making the surf very rough on the north side, which it usually is. But she says you have to go to the eastern coves, the coves that face the east, and that's your only chance of having calm water. This is like the Blue Lagoon right here, and then this is the start of the mountain range that goes north-south down the island. And so my wife has made it down to the beach. I have to go down this rocky ravine, a little bit on the treacherous side. It's still kind of wavy here, but doable. This is the little cove. And one time we were here last year, and we're like the only Americans here. Everybody else is Italian, pretty much. And anyway, these two guys set out with their snorkels on, and they went swimming out past the opening there in the rocks, and then they swam to the left, and they just kept going out there in the open water. And she's waving to me. And I was mentioning this to one of the other couples that was staying at our bed and breakfast about what we saw last year, and I was just joking that, oh, maybe they could swim over to Levanto, and they said, yeah, they could have. I'm thinking, man, that would be an open water swim, and I don't know what the currents or tides are out there, but and this is a boat that's going to pass between the islands. And Maritimo always looks good from a distance. And then that's the town of Favignana over there where the ferry goes in. Alright, let me make my way down here. Alright, we're down at the level of the sea, the Mediterranean, looking east with the mountains of Sicily mainland in the background. My wife is looking for rocks. This is one place where we found some unusual rocks last year. Nothing in the way of seashells. I was going to ask our hostess about that or look it up. We just don't see any shells at all. But I'm mostly just filming this so you can watch and listen to the waves crashing against the shore. Yesterday we wanted to just go over to Levanto just to have lunch and walk around their little town there for an hour or two, and it was so windy. There were so many whitecaps. They said, well, the ferry will get you there, but there's no guarantee there'll be a ferry coming back because of the winds. So with that, we just decided to stay in the town of Favignana and wound up having a really good lunch there. I had like a tuna sandwich, but it was like you've never had before. It's just nothing like fresh tuna. And just the way they prepared it, it was like a 6-inch thick sandwich. It was unbelievable. And here's one of the high-speed ferries. I believe it's coming from Maritimo, going into the port here. So they make really good time. Yesterday we were watching one leave the port, and it was super windy, and it was going up and down and up and down and making very little progress. That must have been a rough go for the people on board. So it takes like a half hour to go from here to Maritimo to the west, and it only takes like 10 minutes to go to Levanso to the north. And then looking across the water, that's Trapani, where we get on the ferry. We take a bus down from Palermo and get on a ferry, and then the ferry usually goes directly over to the port of Favignana, but that time it stopped at Levanso for like 2 minutes and 5 people got off the boat. Most of the people are headed for Favignana here. And we still have the whole beach to ourselves. Can't believe it. We've been here before and it was pretty crowded. Maybe because it's a Tuesday and this is early October. The weather's like the summer, but it's early October. And there's another ferry. Can't tell where it's going. But you can also take a ferry from Favignana to Marsala, which is around the island going that way to the southeast. Good sized. I think Marsala looks bigger than Trapani. Our little cove. Little area to swim here. And here's where we are on the map. Cala Trapanese. We've been sitting here on the beach here for a while. We're just noticing these little grottos. There's some big ones that I filmed earlier. These are just tiny little ones. Kind of go back up in there though. And it's a great place to go snorkeling too. Just gotta know where to walk out. Like right here, it's too rocky. But we discovered watching other people, you go out in the middle, it's nice small pebbles, and then you can get out in the little cove here, swim back and forth. Beautiful, and you can see how turbulent the ocean is through there, the waves crashing through there. So we're like on the one part of the island today where it's protected because the wind is blowing from west to east, and we're on the east side of a point. Oh yeah, look at that. One last shot on our last night here. That's where we're staying, in that complex. Look at all the cactus here. Walking down to dinner, where the sunsets are fantastic, looking out at Maritimo Island. And back at the castle that I hiked up to last year, that I did a previous video on. And that's Levanso Island over there.